Well, good morning, guys. Welcome to Words from a Friend podcast. I'm your host, Marty Carey, and this is the podcast that follows my book, Words from a Friend, a daily guide to a purposeful life. It's available at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. We're on a 365-day inner journey together, so happy and grateful to have you along. We are on day 178 of that journey. Today's a great one. It's a two-pager or so, but it's a really, really good one. I remember writing it, and it's a doorway to further freeing yourself from the weight inside. It's called the ground zero conversation. The ground zero conversation. But I want to tell you that I sound a little froggy and I look a little tired. It's because I was up way past my bedtime last night. I didn't get home till like 9:30. So I'm an early to bed guy. So my buddy Tommy, I grew up with two of the funniest friends in the world, my buddy Tommy and Jimmy. We were there together last night, and when the three of us are together, it is absolute raucous laughter. I mean, I've just laughed more than the average man should last night, and it was awesome. Such good medicine. So I always appreciate that from those two. But my buddy Tommy got a new pool, and it's been a long time coming because he's had a lot of trouble with it. And like last night was the grand dame, the opening. So he says, listen, get here early. I know you're probably going to want to leave early and your usual crap. So get here at 4:00. Bring your suit. We're going in the pool. It's the big day in the new pool. Got a big rock that you jump off into the pool, like the rock diving board. It's beautiful. Shangri-La. So he's very proud of it. A lot of issues he had to clean up with it himself, a lot of drudgery. So this was his night. So we had a beautiful dinner and the whole thing, and swimming and everything. And so, but 8:00 comes. I got like 4 hours in my fun tanks at night at any kind of function. I can do a lot in 4 hours and fill those fun tanks. But my buddy Tommy, there is no bottom to his fun tanks. It's just fill them and keep filling them. So he wants to keep going all the time. So about 8:00 comes around, and I said, looks like I'm gonna get going. He goes, oh, no. He goes, first of all, you're staying to the lights in that pool. Come on. I go, what? He goes, listen, I waited a long time for this. You're waiting till the lights come on. I go, fine. So I have to go way past my time. And so 9:00 rolls around, starts getting dark. He goes, it's going to happen any time now. Like we're going to watch the grand finale at the Empire State Plaza in fireworks. And this is it. It's just the whole pool saga. And this is like the moment. And he goes, it's going to be coming. Just pay attention. And all of a sudden the lights come on. And the first color that comes in is swamp green. And it looks like you already have to skim the crap off the top of the pool. And he goes, oh, wait. No, there's better colors coming. I'm like, okay, great. Thank God. And then the blue came was beautiful. But I go, this was just natural comedy. Got to stay for the lights, have another drink. You're waiting around. It's just, I need this after all the crap I had to do. And then tell me how much you love those lights. All right. I love those lights. Tommy Blake, I love those lights. They're awesome. The whole thing's awesome. But great time. Thanks so much for a great time last night. But anyway, the ground zero conversation is a little more serious than that. But I wanted to just start off the day with some laughs. All right, ground zero conversation. Recently, I mentioned a couple of friends who finally came together after having what is called a ground zero conversation. Today, I thought I should expand upon what this is and how it can free you from a negative cloud of energy between you and somebody in your life, right? You want to part those clouds. You feel them. It's something there that shouldn't be there. It's not natural to, it's static in a relationship. It's there between you. You know it's there, and you're just trying to avoid it and hope it goes away and all that stuff. But honestly, the air needs to be cleared. It just needs to be, and not in any kind of way that is argumentative. Boy, that is the best way. It's just from a heart space standpoint. We really communicate with each other from a heart space. This is just what I need. This does not mean I don't love everybody. I ever love everybody. I'm just need this new space for this, whatever this is. Or we need to make this change because I don't feel like we're growing together. I feel like we're growing apart. And that is the static that is in there. We're growing apart. So how do we come back together if that's the intention, right? How do we come back together? Well, it's always with a ground zero conversation. Now, if we bring our ego into that ground zero conversation, well, then it just becomes mayhem and more likely to this way. But if we can bring our heart space into it with our needs, calm and adult-like, well, then you got a different story. You got different potential right there because your intentions are different. It's not, I'm coming in here to tell you everything you did to me. I'm coming in there to say, this is what I need in order for us to flourish going forward rather than contract, constrict, live in, bitterness or separation, energetic separation. People can live together forever and be energetically separated. It's just like, all right, this is just what's familiar. I don't want to deal with anything, this and that, but I don't want to really repair or anything like that. This is just fine. I'm fine just the way it is, right? And it's just, okay, that's fine too. Everybody, to each his own. Absolutely, to each his own. But if you want more, if you actually want a relationship that works, one that's fruitful and bountiful and prosperous, where you're both pouring into each other's cups, well, that has to have a foundation of truth as it. So the ground zero conversation is clearing the clutter so the truth can be felt and known. And you'll know it when it's been cleared. You feel it's been cleared. And you can clear it with words from the heart. Okay? And that's how we do it. So recently I mentioned a couple of friends who finally came together after having what is called the ground zero conversation. Today, I should expand upon what this is and how it can free you from your negative cloud of energy between you and someone in your life. Ground zero is when you decide it's time to get over and bury an old relational script that you've had with someone close to you. You have relational scripts, like you already know each other's moves and whatever it is. But as we grow, we have different needs. We start flourishing inside in different ways, and we're intentional about our growth. Well, it's going to be wanting the other people to grow with you, and that can be tough. But remember, you're not doing it for them. You're hoping that at that point you can be inspiring them to their own personal growth. But if you try and force that on anybody, that's just pushing the other way. So you have to remember that the journey is for you. And the emanation from you is the example, the words you speak and say, this is why I have to do this. I have to do this because, it's in here. It's in here. It's in my DNA and I feel it. I know this is part of my purpose and whatever that is. And you want to become one, whatever it's a friendship, fathers and children and spouses, all of that. Okay. It's always energetic exchange. It's always energy. And what energy are you exchanging? The lower ones, those are the ones you get stuck in. And those are the ones where you're easily insulted, you easily take offense and all this other stuff. But the two people I was with last night have been my friends since we were like 12. We know each other, everything, and that's why when you get together, you have all this gold in there that you shared and all the stuff that you go, whoo, can you believe we got out of that one? Right? All of that is part of the gold, that story. Every one of us, 8 billion stories going on, 8 billion separate worlds that are connected at the level of the soul, the level of truth. So we each have much to offer each other. If we can get out of that ego bullshit and the amnesia of thinking we're separate selves, not from the same home. Well, man, the power, the light, that's what's coming. And you're part of it. You're part of it. Ground zero is something that keeps you free so that you can be, what happens is you're not letting that darkness cloud your aura. You're not, it's like that heaviness is inside. That's why we got to let stuff go like it's water off a duck's back. Otherwise we can be sponges and just walking around unbeknownst to us in heaviness that is not ours. It's not ours. It's not ours to carry. Our job is not to carry others' emotions. Our job is to know our own and to work with those and to find out what they're saying so that we can grow ourselves. And then we can be helpful to other people because you've taken the inner journey to find that in yourself. You become wise in the way of Know thyself so that you can know others and you can be of service, real, true service. Okay? So, ground zero is when you decide it's time to get over and bury an old relational script that you've had with someone close to you. Could be your spouse or significant other, could be a friend, a parent, or sibling, could be a coworker, or even your child. The ground zero conversation is when two people come together to release the pattern created by clashes of the ego, both yours and another's. We must be brave enough to go beyond our fears and our own past mistakes in order to get this clearinghouse of negative vibes. It's a clearinghouse. You clear it. You clear it with loving conversations. You clear old hurts, old wounds, saying, I never meant to hurt you this way, or I've been holding on to this and I'm sorry. And I hope you haven't been holding on to this, and maybe you have, and I don't want you to, because it's not how I feel. Those are the kind of tones and words that you say. And like I say, if you can't say them, write them down and pass them a note. If you think you break down in order to say it, just write it. Let them know, I'm sorry, or I don't want this, and I want better for this because we're both growing, we're both seeking growth, and I want that, or, I need something more. And hey, I just want to stay where I am. These are those possibilities that can come from ground zero conversations. But those are the ones where the truth lie, and now you're not lying to each other, and you're not lying to yourself. You're no longer lying to yourself because you've said your truth, and you don't want harm for anybody. You just don't want to be harmed anymore by old scripts and old ways of relating to each other that are hurtful and bring each other down, that you may have been doing. And it's just unconsciously, that's because that's been your scripts with each other. So now consciously, you change the scripts. Consciously, you say, hey, I recognize that too. I don't want that either. I don't want that between us ever again. I don't want any of that stuff between us. That's why I want us both to live free, and that's working on ourselves. And when we're working on ourselves, we're working on that relationship with each other. Trust me. If you're working on yourselves in a relationship and you're both working, well, guess what you're working towards? You're working towards the center, the heart space, the connection, our true connection to each other. All right. In these, first, let me start off by expressing that there are, in fact, times when you need to just walk away from an unrelenting negative relationship. Violence, addiction, infidelity, and the absence of love are usually the reasons for an exit. If the relationship has become a one-way street, time to think about change. It's a one-way street, and any kind of intervention to try and save that is just going to be met with more of the same. And you finally realize it, and you go, all right, well, it's got to be detachment then. It's got to be detachment. And silent blessing, that's where everybody's on their own personal journey. Even if that's, you look back upon your life and you look at things that left, and for times even, and like, oh, geez, well, we were both in a different place then. And then they can come back around later, and you've both done some growing, and you go, oh man, I'm sorry about when that was. And you can absolutely admit it then, because when you're at growth, you grew enough to admit things that you could never admit in your old selves, could never admit in the unconscious self, because you thought you were protecting your honor or your pride, your stupid pride, instead of wanting the truth. Okay? So in these times, you usually have said everything that needs to be said and a lot that didn't need to be said, and it's time to move on. All right, freedom for you in these cases still means the need for forgiveness, or you'll be holding on to and occasionally sipping from the well of negative memories. Forgive both the other party and yourself as your declaration of freedom from the past. Never sip from that well again. You don't have to. You got to stop sipping from old wells that were just old dwells, just dwelling in them, in negativity, to feed that ego addiction, that pain body that wants, hey, feed me some pain, or I don't feel this old normal self of mine. No, don't feed the pain. Feed your heart. Feed your heart. Okay, feeding your heart is being good to yourself, being your best friend, and not going back to old wells that you've already gleaned the lesson from. You don't need the old well anymore. You got the gold. You put it in your house of wisdom, and you move forward, not having to relive that again because you've grown out of it, an old skin. Okay? So remember that. Forgive both the other party and yourself as the declaration of freedom. It doesn't mean that you can't be kind and have a different relationship, as in the case of divorce or separation. When children are in the mix, it's in their best interest and yours that you both be kind and civil. My God, you're teaching them what a relationship, looks like in good times and in bad. Well, you can be rise higher into your spirit and say, this just did not work. It has nothing to do with you guys. It was just we were not on the same wavelength in so many things. I love her. I care for her. I love him. I care for him. I just can't be there. It's just not an energy that I live in anymore. I've decided to grow and do different things, and you grow apart, and it's possible. But don't not learn the lessons that were there. Otherwise, you carry that same self of yours into a new relationship, and you may create the same exact thing. All right, you got to learn the lessons in order to create new. You got to learn them, and then embody the yourself as the solution. You're the solution. It's just different new choices and new walks forward. All right. So this one says it's a 2-pager. So in other times in our closest friendships or working relationships that need the long delayed conversation of truth or total ground zero. In my personal experience, the ground zero conversation has saved me and freed me from continuing the facade of untrue or less than desirable relationships and replaced them with a much brighter script and truth. I assure you there's part of the other person that wants this as well. It's only the false veil of fear that prevents you both from airing it out. It is. Well, because you don't want to air out the bullshit. You just don't want it anymore. You don't need to air all the stuff out. You just say, I just want peace. That's all. All right. I'm not going to bring trouble to your doorstep intentionally with old ways or old conversations or old thoughts or systems inside of who we thought we were or who I thought you were and who thought I was. Let's just, from here forward, the Etch-a-Sketch, shake it out and let's do something new. You can. It's strength that's needed, but you can do it. You can absolutely do it. And so it is just, really, it's just growing and being willing to grow together, saying, I don't know it all. Neither of us know it all. But if we trust in the guidance of truth within us, then we have what we need. We have a new foundation for that. And where there'll be respect, integrity, peace, love, unity, and respect. That's what you're looking for as the foundation. All right. And knowing where it all comes from, where the peace, love, unity, and respect comes from, the heart space. It's where you live from. Okay. And you bring that as your predominant calling card. In my person, let's see. I assure you that there's part of the other person that wants to do this as well. Courage and the desire for only quality, deep relationships needs to be your intention and your vehicle to the other side. We've had many different types of relationships and we'll still continue to have, different kinds of interactions and all that kind of stuff. But in our closest, most intentional relationships, we want to get those right. We want to get them right so that they're strong and solid. That's our heavenly net while we're here. The ones we can trust with our lives, ones that we want to have our backs in every way, so that we've got to be there in the best ways for each other. And if you finally get to the point of either total withdrawal or the brink of war, you need to step back and ask yourself, what do I really want? Always the question, what's the outcome I'm looking for here? Is it total destruction and stabbing each other a million times more after you've already been stabbed with, as in retribution or revenge or vindictiveness and punitive little ways and passive aggressive living? Ugh. I mean, that's really where that comes from. It comes from there. It comes from your wounds. You're projecting your wounds into the relationship rather than healing your wounds first and then coming to any relationship as a person that, empathetic to that everybody has this same crap in them, and we all have to realize it and say, believe me, I got that too. That ego of mine pisses me off. Right? Well, that's it. When you can laugh at it and talk about it, it's not real. Then you go, okay, what's real? Let's come together in that. You knucklehead, let's come together in that. Right? So unless you have a truthful answer, I'm sorry. Back and ask yourself, what do I really want? Do I know that if I would change a few things, create some new boundaries and a new vision for the relationship, it would be awesome? That's what I found. In growth, there are going to be new boundaries. In growth, there is going to be change because in this place, things are always changing. So, everybody inside is living in their own world, in their own circumstances. We could be the closest people together and still we're in our own world. We each have our own world to could kind of take care of here, right? And clean up our inner world is how we help others remember that that's what they're doing as well. All right, because cleaning up our inner world is cleaning up this giant world. Okay, and that's where we really connect. Always, we connect in the micro that way, and we connect as a whole that way. Remember, as one family, one source, the universe, the one song. Okay? So unless you have a truthful answer from this place, you'll never move to the next step successfully. Once you really get honest with yourself and know what you want for yourself in your life, it's time for that talk. It's time for the talk. So what? Don't be afraid of the talk. When you're speaking from the heart, you're just going, it's love. I want love. And how do we get back to that? Or how can we have that for ourselves if we can't be together? And I'll send you love from afar. I wish you the best. And that's really kind of the energy you want, even though your ego wants to go, I don't wish him the best. Let God take care of that. All right, fine. But if that frees you to get on and move forward and clean this house up so you have better relationships in the future, especially the one with yourself. Lots of times you have to have the ground zero conversation with yourself first. No, lots of times, first and foremost, ground zero conversation is with yourself. Let me correct myself. That's the first one you need. Okay? That's the look within, and that's a constant. That's a daily look. That's a daily look. What am I bringing to this day? All right? What am I bringing to this day? Not what this day owes to me. What am I bringing to it, and what do I want it to mean to me today? Because you're building a storybook of your life every day, one page a day, right? And so in that day, create a beautiful one intentionally. And that will become the predominant story of your life. No matter what other stuff happens, the predominant story of your life is you walk forward. And you walk forward in truth. And that's what you want in you and around you. That's it. And so you're going to create it. You're creating the new world from the starting point, right here from home plate. And then you create some home runs by using that energy. Lots of home runs in your life from there. Knock it out of the park. Okay? For those who loathe confrontation, you first write a letter. That's what I'm saying. Write a letter to the person, get it all out. I always say write that letter first, and if it's lots of venom and ego in there, I'll burn that first one. Keep writing until it gets down to what the heart needs. What the heart needs, and it just may be freedom. Maybe simple freedom. Maybe space. Simple space. I just need some space to really see if this is what I want or I don't want. And man, let me tell you something. When you give yourself that space, clarity does come. And lots of times we just stay grinding, trying to find the right way inside that we exhaust ourselves from within because we're not letting go and letting God give us the answers. And it's in that space and that solitude and that prayer and those meditations that arises from within. And that's how you kind of guide your own ship, man, by listening to the greatest guide of your ship. It's not your ego. No, it's this guide. This guide. All right? The vortex of truth. If you get off track and things go a bit south, stay the course. Come back to the sanity and push the higher agenda and vision. That's a constant. When I first started doing this stuff, I even say in my own relationship with my wife, it was I don't think she really got it. I didn't get it at first either. When you're going, wow, this spiritual stuff, and of course my mom and I grew up with church and everything, but not in this way. God has many ways to bring you back into your heart. And that's the mysterious ways he works. But it all is a pull. So pay attention to those pulls. I paid attention to a pull, and it saved me. It saved me when God brought me down and said, "Now who are you?" When he brought me down to the dark night of the soul, where I didn't know who my character was anymore. Like, holy crap, what have I been doing? And what have I been allowing in my life? And you take stock and you just look in there and you have that ground zero, sit with God in that darkness. You know, in the yin yang symbol, you've got the dark fish with the white eye. The light is in the darkness. So when I was in that darkness, not knowing who I was, feeling the worst I've ever felt, God said, just right. And that was the light in the darkness. And I listened to it. And I listened to it. And I paid attention. And only because of sparks that he had given me in the past did I pay attention. I knew he was saying something to me that was important. And I started writing. And there. And this is it. And it saved me. And it helped me to remember who I was. Not the old self that I was. It helped me to remember who I was in all of eternity by writing the words that I was hearing. It was like my own personal script that I now want to help you guys with. You know, this script, I believe, is just the truth for all of us. And you have to embody it your own way, in your own vessel, in your own journey, your own special journey. It's unique from mine. It's unique from everybody else's. It's even unique from your closest because it's your personal journey with the divine. When you sit in that for a while, then you've got stuff to share that is real. And we're all recognizing that. And it's not something that is special to this person or that person. It's something that we all are. And then we're waking up to it. We all can feel like, oh my God, this feels like a superpower, you know? But everybody's going to come to that, all right, in their own time. Everybody's coming to that in their own time. It's so much faster now that these little podcasts like mine maybe jolt that in you and say, yeah, I've been hearing some of this and I've been drawn to it. And I want to hear more. Well, you want to hear more. That is the inner journey. You can pay attention and watch podcasts for the signposts, but I'm always going to, and everybody else is going to put you right back into yourself and say, you're in your own laboratory. That's where you feel your special purpose and your special way. But you're not going to get there until you have that ground zero truthful conversation with yourself and weed out what isn't truthful. So you constantly have that conversation with yourself. It's part of the weeding and sieving program. It's part of that program, right? So let go of the old record that you're playing. Say how willing you are to start over and have a truly open and honest relationship. If at the end of the ground zero conversation, you part in a less than desirable way, give it some space and let some nature take its course. Give God that time. You know, everybody, that emotions can run high. Okay? Emotions can run high when you haven't been used to talking in truth. You've used to been dealing with your coping mechanisms. You've been living relationships with your coping mechanisms that you learned and not in actual guidance from the divine that you are. Okay? And it's an opening up. It's a constant cracking open of the heart, maybe even by the heart being broken in many ways from the outside world. You finally have to come home because the pain is just bringing you back to God's arms. That's the parable of the prodigal son. You've been out there and you see, it's way more exciting and truth. This is truth. I see truth every day. I'm right out here in it. Now, that's the play. That's the unconscious play. The truth resides within, and that's what we create the new world with. This, after we've had the ground zero conversation and the cultivation of our garden, the recultivation of it. And that is just listening more than speaking, learning and growing more than absorbing the unwanted that they want us to absorb. Move away from that. Absorb what is true. And you can absorb that directly from source. Get out in the sun, get out in the woods, get out in nature. You can absorb that truth directly from the ether outside your door. All right? Stop looking at this little box and start looking within and seeing the beauty that is all around you, paying attention to that beauty because it has its own story to tell you and remind you of who you are. All right? So if it lends in give it some space and let nature take its course. One way or another, the truth will be revealed and the path forward will be made clear. You'll have done your best, and you do your best, and God, that water, that space that you're giving is the chance for God to bring the water in and flow and take out this venom after a while. And you get back to, all right, well, okay, now I understand and this better. And then you get into a little bit more understanding and an even keel, and then you can move forward a little better way. And in time, it's just a new normal. It's just a new way. But if you're a growth person, you've already shed some skins, and now it just means higher way of walking for you. All right? You don't demand other people do anything. You don't force anything. You just walk with God and let him be let the universe serve what's for you. That's when you're attracting and opening just what's for you, your channel for just what's meant for you. Okay. So CTA today, write that letter. Even if you only use it as a guideline for your in-person talk, you'll have prepared yourself for what is the best to say and what can be left out. Leaving the ego out of your script is my highest and best advice. Coming from the heart and using peaceful, heartfelt language will open all the doors for you. Be brave, be truthful, and keep love in the conversation. The eventual outcome will be freedom, clarity, and higher living. The truth shall set you free. This is what that means. It means you have a truthful conversation. It sets that, kicks the ego out. The ego that wants to keep you in that pain, that fear, that loathing, that hatred, that bitterness, that war, that silent war. You don't want that swimming around in you, you know. So that's why you stay free and chill, you know. Humble giver, grateful receiver. Funny fun. You know, bring that to the table. And that's a good vibe. That's a good vibe. Carry the good vibe and share it. But want to surround yourself with it too, because that just amplifies. And it amplifies that golden grid that frees us all. You know what I mean? We're freeing each other. In reality, we're freeing each other. And through truth, through God's truth. It's all coming in. We're antennas. We're really antennas. And they've been blocking our transmission from God with all this fear shit. So you know what to do today. Don't spread that. You know what to do. Spread your light today, guys, and we shall see you tomorrow. Much love and light.